Hello. How's everybody doing? You doing well today? we're celebrating Agranak Studios 5,000 subscribers, and it looks like we are quite a bit past that. So, yeah, just let me know in the comments if you can you hear me. I do have some friends that I've invited to be on. Some people from well, my past, as well as the Agranak cult community. And I wanted to start off first with the very first person that I've ever well, not the first person, one of the first people that I ever played D&D with, which is my brother-in-law. So I'm going to pop him on here. He is D Master B. How's it going?
That's right. It's going good, man. How are you doing? How are you, brother?
I'm doing good. So, what are you smoking today?
Some pipe weed, the old Farley. No, berry cobbler.
Oh, nice. How do you like it?
It's my favorite so far. They have so many different kinds. I haven't tried them all yet, so
I know.
I haven't had
I
a chance
know.
to get out there and get any more of those.
Yeah. Very cool. Very cool.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it's a kind of a milestone here, 5,000, which at one point before I hit 1,000, I almost quit. So,
Oh,
and then here we are, 4,000 subscribers later, and people liking it. So I hope,
it's
anyways.
very entertaining and awesome to see all the old modules that you bring up and the stuff that we used to play when we were kids and all that,
I
man.
know.
It's so
I
cool.
know. Hail the Heroes. Did you like that
Oh,
video?
totally, man. That is one of the how should I put this? Just one of the best, well put and well organized adventures that I've ever used. I don't think I ever used the CD. Maybe I did. I don't know. Did we?
I remember only using the speakers. So the little the emblems that were outside of doorways and passages,
Ah,
you would
okay.
use the CD on that, but the rest of it was like, no, we're just gonna play like normal. So it
Yeah,
worked as a sound effect,
yeah. I'm really thinking hard about switching over and going back to that Mistara stuff
Hmm.
because I just liked it so much at the time. I've been engulfed with all the newest stuff lately, but man, just to go
Yeah.
back and see those modules again and then having that Carmico set and
Yeah.
I
Oh
put
heck
the
yeah.
map on the wall too, man. I just love it. It's awesome. I mean,
Yeah.
I love Greyhawk and I love Forgotten Realms, but
Oh
man,
yeah.
really that stuff is where what hits home for me. It's really
Yeah.
cool.
Well, I mean that was the known world was in the basic red box set. So just
Yeah.
you know,
Mhm.
it's kind of like everybody knows it. It's part of the history of everything. It's pretty cool.
Well, God, you mentioned the red box set. How many? That was my very first set, and I think I
Yeah.
got it right when it came out.
Yeah.
So
1983.
how many years was that? God, I lost count.
42. That's
That's so
crazy.
funny. It's so funny to think about that. We've been
Yeah.
playing for 4 decades plus.
I know. It's
It's
crazy.
fun, man. It's definitely
Old
awesome.
people. Woohoo.
Mm.
Well, I'm going to bring on another friend here. And this is one of my longest supporters. Um, and I met him on our Discord server. And he's the Finnish man that just finished a RPG session. I won't tell you what edition it was. I'll let him do that. This is Rafi. Everyone say hello, Rafi.
Hello,
Come
Rafi.
Hello.
on, buddy. So
Hello,
how
hello.
was the session for you?
Like I said before with you, Wisdom, it went. It was an okay session. Nothing
Yeah.
to complain about as much.
Now it was interesting because you were talking about how many players did you have?
I've got 5 players.
5 players. Okay, so you as the dungeon master, 5 players, and you said an interesting thing, and that was you're okay DMing 5th edition, but to be a player, you're just like not into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Why is that?
Every time I make a character, I'm like, I need to do this again, going through all of the features, all of the stuff that I feel like is unnecessary.
Yeah.
And then when playing, it feels the same as well, but it feels
Like there's unnecessary like mechanics or features or whatever, like within a character class.
I feel like I guess it might not be the right word to use, but it's a bit limiting. Not in the sense of like oh, I need to play a powerful character. I it's more on the side like I prefer skill systems more.
Okay. Yeah.
And I guess also I've been running the Deathbringer game as well. It doesn't really have any like features per se.
Yeah, it's really stripped down, which is great. I think it definitely has its perks, and to me, it's within the realm of Shadow Dark, and I think Kelsey really took hints from his early documents for Deathbringer to inform Shadow Dark. So that'll be interesting. That's supposed to come out Kickstarter this year, isn't it?
I have no idea.
Yeah. At least I heard it did. All right. Well, we've got a couple more guests here. I'm going to bring on my high priest. I think he just turned like level 500 on the Discord server. We have a little a level counter from how many posts you do. But here is the man from the East Coast of America, Wingus Ryu. How's it going, brother?
Hello. Hello, Earthlings and humans.
Uh-huh.
I'm wearing green, the grill here, and then the most important rocket punch is also green.
Oh, yes. So Wingus Ryu here from Rocket Punch Press. So you just started your own YouTube channel, and you got some
it's
pretty
very
awesome
unprofessional.
Very professional, yes. Well,
But I like being unprofessional. It's a certain charm.
Awesome. Well, it's I have to say I have kind of a fear of flies. So every time I see
I'm
this
a grasshopper, not a fly. I'm a cyborg grasshopper from the 1970s.
Oh, it's a grasshopper. Sorry.
Yes.
Pull the rock out of my hand, young grasshopper.
I will punch it out.
Oh, awesome. Well, we're not going to be able to see your face. You were going full brand today. Is that right?
I mean, I could. I have my Agranak hat. I could just put that on.
Yes. The grasshoppers have all the swag and the merch. So, all right. Well, I've got another wonderful person that we're going to bring on. And, well, we'll just do it because I think he's set up in a good way here. This is Kappa from Kappa Solo. What is up?
Sit by. Diaunty.
So, you go on your own. Like, what is going on here? Like, there's 3 people with real faces. I got a masked crusader over here, and then a puppet. Which I can't knock the puppets. I've got Zoth over here as well as Dice Bag, but maybe they'll come out a little bit later. But we do attract some weird people.
Yeah, I can get the real person.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to swear?
For sure.
Oh,
He's a fucking idiot.
Yes, of course.
I'll get him.
There he goes. Oh, nice walk off. I like that. Had the stairs and everything. Who is the man behind? Is he there? Is he going to come up? Yeah, the Welshman himself, Cup of Solo.
Hello.
Now, if you don't follow Cup of Solo, on Instagram specifically, but he's also got a free tier on Patreon that you are doing all this artwork and stuff. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, the way I started, history lesson now, the UK fighting fantasy, all those game books, choose your own adventure, but you'd roll dice. That's how I got started back in, well, I was born in 84, so I'm a young pup, but I got into them in the 90s, as long with Hero Quest, and I've always played solo. So go off the rails, skip time, get drunk, quit booze, blah, 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 and then get back into RPG. So with my art background, I thought it'd be more fun to journal, to draw it rather than write it down, because it's cool if you like to do it that way, to do like a whole novel of your session. Great. It's not for me. I like bullet points, or the way I've done it. I'll draw a panel. Okay, what's the next scene going to be? Roll a dice. That's the outcome. Draw the outcome.
Yeah, when I was playing Ironsworn, that as a solo RPG, I had gone to journaling, and I was like, man, this feels like work. And I think your method is the right method, because at the end of or at least for me, I think I should try solo work, solo RPG, the way that you do it, and everything that you and also Coyote, you guys just have everything so streamlined and like to the point. It's wonderful.
Yes, it's the best way. I think, because I'd get bored easily, if I'm sure anyone would, if you were just type. But
yeah. Well, I want to give some shout outs here to some people that are in the chat. We got Yori is here, GPA, Graph Paper Architect in the house, Simon Templar, Mage's Musing, my fellow YouTube puppeteer, just doing awesome stuff over there, playing a lot of that first edition AD&D, which we still love, and as well as old school essentials, so can't knock that at all. Agile Monk is in the house as well, so thank you guys for being here and being a part. And TMB, which also apparently hates journaling long form. Yeah, me too. So, all right. Well, I have zero agenda, but I know that Wingus had some questions. If you wanted to shoot those out, or we could just talk about nonsense, sit here and drink and smoke.
nonsense is good.
We talk nonsense all the time, so
Everything's nonsense.
That's basically the motto of the cult, isn't it? Just talk nonsense.
Yes.
I have one question I want everyone's answer on.
Perfect.
Best race, humans? Yes.
I mean, obviously, yeah.
That wasn't a
Humans are
question.
I want to know. So my question is, well, it's yes. Of course, I'd rather be a human traveling in a fantasy world, finding out fantastical creatures and fantastical things. Like, being a human is not boring.
Is that because you're a
grasshopper?
Is that because you're a mecha grasshopper? And if you're anything fantastical, it's like, that's boring.
Yeah, that's boring.
Absolutely. Hey, I've got someone else waiting in backstage here.
Ooh.
Yeah, let's bring this guy on. This is actually one of my players that I play with weekly, and we've gotten to know each other. This is Scott Anderson. Oh, there we go. Wait a second. Can you flip your phone? Go landscape. Yeah.
Did that fix it?
Now we got symmetry.
No, no.
We got symmetry now.
All right. Was
Very nice.
now I
How's
can't
it
see
going?
the screen.
Yeah.
This is all jacked up.
Yes. That's all
I'm
right.
good.
Nice, nice.
It's cool to
Well-
see this community that you've built.
Yeah, it's fun, and we got good people all around. I mean, shit, from all over the world. I mean, just in this chat right here, we got Finland represented, Wales represented, and well, that's it. Unless you're talking to me, I'm the Irishman. I wish I was
Yeah.
in Ireland right now, but oh well.
Soy in whiskey.
And whiskey. Now, did you bring a drink?
Just water at the moment.
What? Yeah,
Boring.
weed and water.
Boring. Tears in my glass.
Yeah, of course. All right, so here's a question for everyone. We were just talking when I brought on D Master B about modules and adventures that may have been some of your favorite. Now, I need your best module, maybe that you've ever played that was pre-published, and it's fine if you went off the rails and didn't actually finish it, whatever, or maybe it's even a module that you got and have read through and wanted to play, and you're thinking that this might be the best one. So whatever it is, we're going to go around the room here. We'll start with D Master B, and then we'll go clockwise here. What module do you think is at least top 5?
Well, we definitely mentioned Hail the Heroes, but I always go back because I'm a Giant lover. I loved Against the Giants. That whole 3 module series, man, that was so fun bringing people through, especially the stead, the Hill Giant fort and all that kind of stuff. It was just so fun, man, because the party was never strong enough to beat a giant, but they were crawling through it, you know. And
Right.
That definitely for me is top 3. I love it.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Rafi?
I think my first adventure was Lost Mine of Fandelver for 5e. I ran it. Actually, I think must have been 2 or 3 years ago. I can't remember at this point.
Okay.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
What was your what was the favorite part about that?
Well, it was my first adventure.
Yeah.
I've never run modules before, and it was a good starting module for 5e at least.
Yeah. Very good. How about you, Wingus?
Me? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm the weirdo here, other than maybe Cuppa. So I never really played 2E that much. So
Okay.
back in the day,
Well, it could be from any system.
Yeah.
Any system.
so back in the day, I played Palladium stuff and Turtles and Robotech and Marvel Savage World. So nothing back then. We just made our own stuff up. But most recently, okay, big surprise. I really like the Dragonbane adventure.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Now,
that's the,
why is because I think you've seen it. It's very clear cut and very you don't have to read. Like, you can basically read it 10 minutes before the session, and it has little
Oh yeah.
pointers
For
and
sure.
says if this is going to happen, this happens or whatever. So
Yeah.
and it's really free
It's
form.
very,
It's like
it's
a
very
sandbox.
streamlined and concise. You
Yeah.
can do it on the fly, and I love that about like old school essential modules as well. It's
Yeah,
like you
those are
just
all
get
great.
a little bit of paragraph and you just riff as a DM, and that So Dragonbane has that too, and for
And
sure.
all the OSC adventures are great.
Yeah.
Same kind of style.
And with Dragonbane, I have to say, and I need to make it known for sure that Dragonbane is my very favorite modern RPG. Not modern setting, but modern iteration with modern rules. So technically, Drak och Demonair came out in the 80s, but they've been updating, much like D&D has and whatnot. But it far, far outshines 5e. I mean, ridiculously to me. So
I don't even want to read that. It's like this thick. When I read DCC,
Yeah, for sure. All right, Cup of Solo. Favorite adventure?
Ooh. I'm gonna go with DCC with Sailors Under the Starless Sea.
Oh, very cool. Right on. Now, what's that about? I'm not familiar with it.
It's basically this fort, and it's a level 0 adventure. I think I run it for the cult at some point, and I think they survived. I can't remember.
Yep. That's where we met Zorak.
That's right, Zorak the Wizard. But yeah, it's there's chaos in this ruined keep, and you go down, and then there's this whole hundreds of these beast men, and there's a gaming room with a sand table. Very much. Oh no, that was not Starless Sea, was it? I'm getting confused, but Starless Sea is very good with the Chaos Lord.
For sure.
I do want that mask. I've seen them.
Yeah. Well, we just got a super chat from Famix Wookie, who actually is also one of the players, weekly players. Yeah, great community. I'm glad to be a part of it. Heart. All right, everyone, do the little heart thing. I don't know how to do it. Oh, there we go. It's heart time. Yay! Wow, did that do that automatically? What the hell was that? Oh my gosh, what the hell?
What sorcery is this?
You are a
What wizardry? Oh my gosh, that's funny. Well, thank you, Famix Wookie. That will go to alcohol for tomorrow night's session. So, all right, Scott.
Yes.
My big, tall ass brother from another mother. Tell me
Indeed.
about an adventure and that you love.
I'm going to talk you up for a minute. And like this Castle Agranak setting that we're doing now and the Shattered Moon Vale, it's so vast and also small. It's both scopes at the same time and both scales. And like we've had discussions about like superpowers versus the struggle and that sort of thing. And like I haven't had as multi-dimensional a setting and an adventure as this. And so like even the characters that come into it, they develop further than the last character did. And so it's like the characters get fuller and fuller. And then we just switched over on our table to 2E and from like OSC. Well, we still do OSC stuff and all that, but
yeah,
like so now we've got a new rule set, which will then continue to expand because we haven't adopted proficiencies and stuff yet. And so anyway, it's continuing to advance, kind of taking on a life of its own and a lore of its own. And so it's just like the world building part is getting exciting for me. So, so the sandbox effect and the up against insurmountable odds as far as like anything to conquer. And so it's like this, we're going to die every time kind of feeling, but it's fun that way. It's exciting that way. So
yeah,
I've died a lot, but not quite, not like permanently.
right. But enough to be a stall, I suppose, or at least an interesting story. Well, thank you for that. That's I wasn't expecting that, but that's awesome, man. That's
yeah.
He just doesn't want to die in the session tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm just buttering you up.
I think that's a guarantee that he's going to go down. So,
Ha, ha, ha.
oh man.
Actually,
So
Fox was taking over for me.
yeah, that's true. Well, I'm going to name my favorite adventure. Star Wars West End Games Tatooine Manhunt.
Oh,
It's probably my favorite that I've ever run. And I've probably run that module more than any other one ever. But yeah, I would say that. And so it's not necessarily D&D, but that would be where I am at. But I'm getting a lot of shout outs here because we got it wrong, gents. It's supposed to be Keep on the Borderlands.
Yeah, of course.
So yeah, we were wrong, and yeah, that means you need to top off your drink, I guess. Take a moment to do that. So
Sorry, I'll just have a sip now.
have you seen that whiskey that looks like it's in a turpentine can?
oh,
Like it's in it's just like, I forget what it's called, but it's literally here in the States, and it looks like it's a metal screw top lid, like you're pouring out turpentine or like even like tongue oil or something. Nobody's seen that? Oh my gosh. That's what it looked like when you did that,
Pinchy.
because it's that same thing. Oh,
The real Wingus.
we know who the masked man is now. Look at this guy.
yeah. Fighting justice gets hot.
Were you sweating?
A little bit, and then like watching myself, like
Yeah.
it's like watching myself as another character, so it starts messing with my head.
Mhm.
So yeah, if I'm gonna try to maintain focus, it's hard to do those things, as Cuppa knows, because I'm his player and he's also my player. So
Yes. Well, you guys play a ton, like weekly, if not
No.
I do three
or
times
three
a week,
times a week
plus a
on the
play by
Discord
post.
server. Yeah. And now you're in an interesting situation, Wingus, and that is that you don't play live. You play exclusively online, and man, I might shoot myself if if that was the case.
Well, that's
Though
because you haven't been starving for 20 years. When you're
that's the
last
other
time I
thing.
played was 2000.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the thing is that if you have that desire, you're gonna make it happen, right?
And I got my best buddy right here.
Yes, of course, and it's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
I'm tight. So you guys need to keep talking here. Go ahead and just say something. I got to type something out here.
Oh yeah, so like I think Cuppa just as long as me, basically. Like I last played in 2000, moved to Japan for like 6 years, didn't play then, came back. I worked for a Japanese company, so I just did that and just wasted my life away. And then finally I was just like, I'm gonna start doing things for me again. And I did started karate up again, all my other stuff, and started. And you were one of the channels. It was DM, Dungeon Craft, and JP Couvert, and you were like the three ones that I was just like, oh, I should really get back into this. And then I last played like 2E, but that wasn't my big game. Like we played a lot of, like I said, Palladium stuff, Marvel Superheroes, World of Darkness.
Here, Dungeon Master B, he's also a Marvel Superheroes fan.
That's the best Marvel
had
superhero
plenty
game.
of games of that. Tell us about that.
Oh yeah. Man, it's been a long time since I've played that, but that was definitely mixed in well with Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, I had a group of guys who just loved to play that game, and it was such an easy system, and it flowed so well. and it kind of brought the fantasy role playing aspect to superheroes if you're into that kind of thing, I guess. And I can't say enough good things about that system. I'd really love to reacquire all those books, man. I used to have them all.
You can. There's a secret place on the web that you can get those. I still have my books though for that. Those I never got rid of. Yeah.
Oh man,
it's such a great system for like. I love random rolling up powers, which you get in there.
Oh,
it's so much fun, book. And it's so fun to try to like make some kind of unifying concept of a superhero based on like weird superpower like results. So you might have like digging and super speed and flying, and it's like, I guess I am the locust or something like that because
yeah, it was really fun rolling random powers too. Like if you didn't get to really choose your powers, depending on what campaign you were in, but it was fun saying, well, I was born with this power, so I rolled it up. Well, I can turn invisible, or I can run fast, or fly, what have you. Just a fun system, man. Tons of fun.
And the cool table on the back, the 4-color chart.
So easy, huh? That's all percentile. It was so cool.
Well, we got a question here, super chat. Good day, gents. Since you're talking adventures, best solo. Cheers. Now I'm thinking this is best solo game is what I'm thinking. Yeah, solo adventure or game. So what are you thinking? I think I'll go first. And I hate to do this. I've typically talking about D&D on my channel, but my favorite solo adventure was Star Wars in the regular, game master, or it was just the player's handbook, right? It's not a player's handbook. It's just the core rule book. That one had a great choose your own adventure style, just like in the red box, where it's like, oh, if you made your roll, then go to this number or whatever. And it was so vivid to me. And in fact, I think I started many adventures with that same adventure because I'd run it so many times trying to figure out the game system, which was relatively simple. So what about you, Brian?
I don't have a lot of experience with solo adventures. I mean, I used to
red box, right? The red box.
Oh yeah, the red box has that. Yeah, and I did. Yeah. I remember. I the first time I ever played was with my older brother Steve, and the goblin that he came up against killed him, of course, and he threw all his dice and papers and pencils at me, so he got mad. So that's the only experience I have with that. Other than that, it's just when I first got into the game, I started reading those choose your own adventure books. I mean, those were fun.
Yeah.
But
even oh gosh, I can't think of it right now, but Cup of Solo, what is it? What is the choose your own adventure, your version?
We've got Fighting Fantasy, and there's Endless Quest. Endless Quest as well was the D&D one.
Yeah, Endless Quest books, yeah.
And I played Zork. Those were the books that I read through were Zork. So
I never played the books. I just played the game, the computer.
Oh, you played there was a game. I didn't know there was a game.
Yeah, text. Yeah, all text.
Oh, that's cool. Like on what?
Yeah, I didn't know there was. But yeah, so we didn't know about each other's Zork.
Mm-hmm. What computer were you using? Like Commodore 64?
That was, if it wasn't the Commodore, I think we upgraded to an IBM. Something boring, not cool, like a 2E or something.
Not an Apple.
Nah, we were boring.
What about you, Rafi? Best solo? Can you hear me?
I was muted. A common occurrence for me.
What's your best solo adventure? Like, whether it's published or even in a game module, like with the red box or whatever.
I haven't started yet solo gaming. I was supposed to. but I was supposed to play. Was it Gallant Knight Games Hero's Journey 2, but I'm not yet got to it. At some point when I stop planning other games, I guess the solo gaming is not as interesting to me as playing with people. But
Yeah.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
Well, Cup of Solos. He's getting locked and loaded. We'll come to you in a little bit. Wingus, tell me your favorite solo.
Oh no, I will do next. I must yield to the master here first. I'll go last. Let the master
right.
go first.
Here it is, the throwdown. Let's do it.
Uh-oh, he's getting Cuppa. Cuppa's
coming out. Damn. This is gonna be brutal.
No. I thought I had it out. I don't. Sorry.
Oh.
I was looking for a book. I'm still unpacking.
Oh.
But I've got the original Fighting Fantasy Firetop of Warlock. Warlock of Firetop Mountain.
Nice.
From 81, I think it was.
Oh, before you were even born, you young
I know.
whippersnapper.
I know. No, it's all right.
Well, we'll come back to Wingus here.
Okay.
Favorite?
Oh,
Ooh.
there you go.
Favorites. I mean, I did do a whole year of exploring last year. That was quite fun.
That was every day, wasn't it?
Every day on a leap year.
Yeah, on a leap year. So you got an extra day.
Yeah. I was quite burnt out by the end.
Yeah. That's great.
But it was fun doing the New Year's Eve final dungeon delve.
Mm-hmm. Very
Had
cool.
a few of the cult joining in. That was fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. Very good. Now, Wingus or Scott? I don't know if Scott's ever soloed anything. Go for it, Wingus.
Okay.
I'll just say my short piece, which is the thing that came to my mind. My favorite solo is Skyrim. It's
There
like,
you go.
yeah, automated DM or something.
You know what?
Yeah.
I should have
I
thought
would
of
have
that.
to agree. I would have to agree. If I can't play D&D and I'm not into sitting down and rolling dice, then yeah, Skyrim always comes out. It is true.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Wingus.
Me? It's actually the first solo I tried. So I'm gonna have to go back. All right, everyone has to drink because I'm gonna say Dragonbane again. But it comes with its own little 12-page solo pamphlet. And one of the reasons I like it, and I've played others since Cuppa has taught me the way, but I like it so much because it's a roll under system, so you don't have to think about target numbers.
Right.
You also have the monster attack matrix, which is always fun for you as the GM/player. Like, what's he gonna do to me? He's gonna bite me. Okay, then I'm gonna hit my sword. No, it's like, what's he gonna do? I have no idea. Roll my D6. Bam. Uh-oh. So it makes it really fun, or as fun as solo can be. Because it is missing a dimension, but you do have a new dimension with solo that you don't get. So there's each way kind of has its own aspect.
It's not the same as group game. There's it's different scales.
It's
solo.
It is.
Yeah.
But I think with solo, the major benefit of solo is that it teaches a dungeon master how to improv.
Yep.
And how to connect the dots and all of that, and do what you need to do to really think on your feet when you're playing live with a group. So it's one of those things where I learned a lot. Even I don't know. I think I did some Iron Sworn solo RPG 3, maybe 4 years ago, but I think it was about 3 years ago. And I was learning stuff about my style even then, having been playing for 30 plus years. And it's quite interesting for sure.
Science One is a
So-
great system, but you could, I think a lot of people get a bit overwhelmed by it because there's 300 pages
Mhm.
in the book, and they go, wow, I've got all these moves and situations, but you only need one move,
Mhm.
and that's face danger. That's all you need.
Yeah.
To play the whole game. But it is great. And I want to say to Major's Musings, I saw that he sold all his Fighting Fantasy books, but
Yeah.
Steve Jackson Games are bringing them back stateside.
Oh, there you go.
Like
That's pretty
Kickstarter,
cool.
right? Yeah.
That's pretty awesome. Now there's another one of my players, and there's this game. It's a book game, right? Much like with the Fighting Fantasy, Zork, Choose Your Own Adventure, etc. And I forget the title. You guys will know. It's Wolf something or something Wolf.
Lone Wolf.
There it is. And so you create your character and you level that up as you go.
Mhm.
And it's such an amazing concept that takes the choose your own adventure to very close to real role-playing game,
Yeah.
which is awesome. So good fun. Good fun.
There's a few skirmishing games. There's what's it called? Something Borderlands. I've just 5 Leagues from the Borderlands. You
Mhm.
make like a small party and you go on adventures and you level them up.
Mhm.
And Rangers of Shadow Deep, which our player Pale Emperor
Mhm.
has been doing, and with his fantastic miniatures.
Yeah, making us jealous.
Yeah,
Yeah. I tried to get him on this stream, but he was busy.
It's too important for us.
Yes. Too important for us, that guy.
He's making stuff.
Yeah.
you almost had a Canadian here. Almost.
I'm close enough. I'm South Canada.
Yeah, you're close to Canada, and Canada is still under the crown, as far as I know. But apparently, not to get too political, there's a certain president of America that's trying to acquire Canada. Kind of weird. But let's not talk about politics. We're talking gaming right now, right? So, yeah. What's the next question, Wingus? What do we got?
Oh, no one answered. Well, because my brain wasn't working right. So, okay? Let me rephrase this like Jeopardy. Okay, Alex, I'd like to phrase it in a question. Why are humans the best race to play?
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's always like, they're boring.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's because of the humans can be so diverse. People think, oh, it's a fantasy world, but so I have to be an elf or I have to be a dwarf. But you're a human. The NPCs can be different because people are different. Not everyone is the same. It's not just like monotone robots walking around. Just they have personalities. They have different traits, flaws, whatever. And if you play into that, then it makes it more interesting to be a human.
It's true. Huh. All right, Scott. I want to hear what Scott has to say.
You calling me out?
I'm totally calling you out.
I've never wanted to be a human in my real life, so why would I want to do it in my fantasy life?
There you go.
I think
So-
Wingus
so
can maybe
here-
relate.
Here's the thing, is that save for games that I said you can only be a human, Scott has always played a furry in my game.
Basically, some sort of hybrid,
Yeah,
a bird hybrid, and a wolf hybrid.
a goat.
And and a goat hybrid.
Yeah.
Well,
And for me,
whatever.
it's-
All right. All
For
right.
me, I was
Who's
just gonna
next?
say that real quick. Just like I'm not against it. So in a lot of
You're
my
the
games,
duck killer. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
that duck went and fought that right on his own, time. That was he made that decision. But no, I'm not against it. And like I like to
Okay.
start a party as human. They might learn, and if one dies, replace them with an elf or dwarf or something. But I kind of like the whole concept, at least starting, is that they're in a small area. And then as they explore, they're finding these elves and dwarfs. And it's just like through the human eyes, they're like finding these other cultures and being impressed, or they're finding the fantastical. And it like kind of how Dolmen would. That's why I'm excited to play that. Is it kind of has that fairy story kind of mentality to it.
For
So
sure.
I'm not against it. And some games I'll go full, furry or whatever. But in a lot of the stuff, I like to start human at least, and then kind of build up.
Yeah. Well, we've got Jason Bell here says, in a whole lot of games, non-humans are essentially just humans with some bonuses.
Basically, that's why like the unless you're good at it, like the non-humans, and it was on a YouTube we talked about before, but yeah, they should be more alien. Like dwarves and halflings, I kind of keep. They're kind of in the human bunch, but like an elf, it should be like Sam. Look, Frodo, elves, or some kind of. They're like amazing and just very alien from
Yeah.
how a typical human might think. But
Right. Mm-hmm.
I like my lore with my elves are they're cannibals.
yeah, I remember that was cool.
I love that so much.
Just like
We've got
just these
savage
freaky
elves.
things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like stay off the woods. Stay out of the woods.
Yeah. Very cool. What about you, Rafi?
Well, when it comes to, well, I've said it before, but there's nothing better, like nothing more badass than playing humans in a fantasy world. A world that is like compared to our world, so alien and so different.
Yeah.
There's nothing more badass, and that's why I play a human in a fantasy game.
Right. And Brian, since you got back, the question is, Wingus, you want to say it one more time?
So I can't remember what I said, but basically it's like, why aren't
You
humans?
did the Alex Trebek version, right? You switched it.
My brain's all messed up. So like, why are humans not boring to play? For 400.
That's a great question.
Unless you think they are boring.
Why are they not boring? Why are they not boring? I've never had the privilege of playing a human character, although I'm.
So why are they boring?
Why are they boring? I don't think they're boring, but they're just kind of the majority race, I guess.
Okay, at least you have that. So like that I do like. So even if you're in a land and maybe you're like, well, I don't want to play a human, but still to me is like, I think that's part of the humans thing is like they should be the most numerous.
Yeah.
At least in my mind. So if you do, there shouldn't be like a million and all the races are just happy, glory, like just so happy to be next to each other. That conflict of like, this elf is kind of weird. Maybe he's like Solo's game. Why is he eating my arm or something like that?
Yeah, I think in the worlds that I've never been a player really, except for once a few years back when I played in one of Brent's adventures. We were fighting a leprechaun. That's like the only time I've ever been a player character. I've always only been a dungeon master my whole 40 plus whatever years it's been. But I think you're right. Humans are the majority, and to be a demi-human or anything other than a human would be kind of rare to me in my world. Yeah. But in terms of what makes them not boring, well, I don't think anything makes them. I mean, they're just.
I mean, everyone
You
just
said
says
it
that.
earlier.
That's
It was
funny.
a diverse thing, right? I mean, you can be human and be just about any class, and
Yeah.
depending on the campaign. Do I even have any humans in my party? Yes, I have one human in my party.
Let me
And
guess.
here I
Is
am
it
saying
Dan?
they're rare.
Is it Dan?
Yes. he's
course.
he's an exiled red wizard, red
Yeah.
wizard of Thay. So
Yeah.
he's
So still weird though.
weird. Yeah, my whole party's weird. I mean, I have a gnome named Moldy Stumbleduck. So
I love
it's a
that.
really fun
That's
party. I've got a
amazing.
dragonborn named Thorindar. I've got a dwarf named. All the names are crazy, but yeah, humans are the majority. So I would say you would encounter in my world more humans than you would anything else.
Right. Well,
Here's a
even
question.
TM,
Where are the hobbits? Where are the hobbits?
they're right there.
Bring
aren't they?
back
They're right
the
there.
hobbits.
I don't have any halflings in my group, but I do have a
So
gnome.
if I were to play anything else, it would be a halfling.
I can't imagine that, Brent.
I know, but it's like, to play the off whatever. But I'm always like a basic bitch, basically. I play the warrior, the barbarian type of character. My whole introduction into D&D, they said, "Have you ever seen Conan?" And I'm like, "Yeah, one of my favorite movies of all time." They said, "You can play Conan." And I was like, "Oh my God." So like every single one of my characters has been Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
Well, yeah, except his name was Magellan.
that's right. Magellan, the slaughterer of men.
Oh God, it was so hard to be a DM with Magellan in the group because he wanted to fight every guard, every single thing in town. He wanted to just defy. He challenged me as a dungeon master on a constant basis.
That's true. So let me just
playing the role.
Let me make this really clear. I am a horrible player. I am really, really bad.
I'd love to see.
I'd much rather be a DM, and most of the people that know me are like, "Yeah, be the DM." My wife, the same way. She's like, "Please be the DM because you suck as a player." I'm always trying to steal the spotlight and causing trouble and getting people into trouble. So I'm a horrible player. Horrible.
God,
Okay.
I know.
Would you co-DM?
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, let's segue using your Conan and your fighter comment. So let's use BX because everybody knows that, and there's 7 choices. What is your favorite class for that system? What would be your choice? We know that DM Wisdom would be a fighter. So what's everybody else? Or what's your favorite, and what would be the app you probably would least likely play? So most and least. So what would be DM's least? Probably a wizard then? The opposite?
No, you know what? I like to jump. I like to think that I would be a good wizard, and that's a challenge to me. But I find that because I want to do so well as a wizard, especially with, like you said, BX, the spell descriptions are shorter in BX, but usually I'd play first or second edition and the spell descriptions go on forever. And so I find that when I've played a wizard, that my nose is in the book for way too long. And I don't know where we're at. I'm like, what's happening? I've been reading this spell for the last 5 minutes trying to figure out what I'm going to do. And so, yeah, I don't know that wizard is the worst, but I would say if we're talking BX and we can use Arneson classes, merchant. I would never play a merchant.
I'm a magic user, basically. Like I get bored smashing things all the time, so I want variety in the stuff I can do. So I like having a toolbox and being a circumstantial kind of magic user.
Yeah. Which is great to toot your horn as well. You're always looking
Toot it.
for the most poetic. I think that's the way to say it. It's like you want to use the most poetic way to use your spells in alignment with your character, which is so awesome at a game. And let me just shameless shout out to every single one of my players. You guys are the best in the world. I couldn't ask for a better group of players to play with on a weekly basis. Just
Can't do it.
no. Does it work for you?
Come
It
on.
doesn't work. It only
Come on,
works
babe.
for me.
Aw.
Woo!
It always works for
I
me on
have the
Discord.
magic.
Bigger.
Yeah. Very good.
Yeah, but
Okay, who's next?
I like all the flavors of magic.
Yeah.
Come on, Raffy.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, go
haven't
on,
heard
Rafi.
you speak.
I think he's
BX, what do
muted.
you mean?
You're
See, muted
muted.
again.
You're muted.
I have never played BX, but if there was ever like
Not just the
any
7
game,
basics.
any game that I play is usually a fighter. So yeah, it never goes. Well, I do sometimes play the support role, but fighter is like the go-to.
I think yeah, the fighter, amazing. Who else? Who else hasn't? Brian hasn't gone.
Well,
If you were to play, like, if you can picture yourself playing a long-term campaign, what would you pick?
does it have to be BX?
No, I was just thinking the
Yeah.
basic 7s, that's
yeah.
why. So it doesn't really
Oh,
matter.
well, I mean, if I had a specific class that I'd play, I would love. I mean, I was always fascinated with the human ranger.
Me too. I love the ranger.
Just the rangers, the forest guys. I mean, I had a 25-year career in logging and tree service, so I had this appreciation for the woods, and you know, I just love when one of my players selects a ranger, because they have such a wide capability, powers, spells, fighting techniques. I love them to death. I love rangers. But I would never be a halfling because they're pussies.
No, no. Look
He
at
didn't
this
say hobbit.
halfling.
He didn't say hobbit.
This is my pipe tamper. Here's a halfling just having the greatest time ever with a pint on top of a barrel.
I don't mean that literally. I wouldn't be a halfling just because the halflings are children.
I thought you didn't like gnomes. I love gnomes.
Oh, I like gnomes. I like gnomes because they're more like dwarves.
Yeah. Have that underground sort of
Mm-hmm.
thing going on.
Yep.
Like the rock gnomes and all that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool. All right. We are approaching the 1 hour mark here. And I want to thank everybody that's sticking around. We've been hovering right around 20 viewers, which is amazing for a first time live stream. I've never done this before. I have no clue what I'm doing. I didn't even know that this was going to work, but I'm having a great time. Are you guys still good, everybody? I know Rafi is probably the furthest away time zone wise. What time is it in Finland?
It's 9.
9 o'clock. All right.
He's in the future.
You're fine. You don't go to sleep till like 3 o'clock in the morning, right?
No.
Right. 2 o'clock. Oh man. All right. Wingus, give us another question, another conversation piece here.
Okay. All right. What is your favorite die?
Oh,
What is your favorite die? I have my answer. The Fate die. I love that thing. Ever since
do I have one here?
DM Wisdom showed it to us, like I bought it and I use it in every game. Like I don't have to prep anything. I just let it tell me all the answers. Like what's gonna happen?
Fate
I don't
mill
know.
right there. Fate
And it's a
mill.
D20 and it's a D20.
It's the ultimate like 8-ball magic.
It is.
For the dungeon master. It is amazing. It really is. You have a question, you don't know what it is, ask a yes or no question, roll the die.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We used it a lot in like the Aliens campaign because they'd be like, "Oh, is there anything in the weapons locker?" I'd be like, "I don't know. Yes, no."
Yeah.
So then you don't have to populate every little thing. Is there? I would just tell them like, they'd be like, "Is there something there?" I'd be like, "I don't know. What do you want to be there?" And like, "Is there like a plasma rifle left over?" Let's find out.
Yeah.
That way you don't have to
I'm
make.
gonna
everything.
say the D20 is still my favorite, and close second is the D12.
Or the D. You mean the D13?
Well, yeah, I am developing a game called 13 RPG. Has more of that rules light sort of feeling to it, and it uses 13-sided dice that are not too hard to come by. They're out there, and it's fun. But yeah, but for basic bitch, D20s, D12 close second.
I agree.
Kappa.
20-cider is definitely my favorite, but I agree 12-cider is neat too because it does the most damage, huh?
Yes,
Battle axe.
but also can be weak on damage. I'd rather roll 2d6 than 1d12.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
But
Yori, halflings do matter. I just want to say that.
halflings matter.
Halfling lives matter.
The
All right, here's
I can say that. I'm a halfling, so.
Monk supremacy, Famix Wookie. I banned monks because Famix Wookie
because of him.
had a monk in our 5e campaign that literally stunned. Like at 5th level, they get that shocking, like whatever the fuck it's called. I don't even remember what it's called. But
quivering palm.
Is it quivering palm? Well, it's like it causes petrification on the person. So it's like in first edition, it was quivering palm. I forget what it's called. Famix Wookie's he knows everything about it. And so at any rate, I banned monks. I need to bring him back. I'm sorry for being such a jerk about it. He loves playing a monk. He hasn't played one for like 3 years now. And so I just shout out to the class question to the monk.
Why doesn't he just come back as a friar?
Yes. The friar that's just drunk all the time, drinking from the,
this Friar Tuck.
Robin Hood, Friar John or whatever.
Friar Tuck.
Friar Tuck. And so Friar Tuck. And then he'd be the master of the drunken fist. It'd be perfect.
His constitution would be so high.
Yes. But then my beloved wife is saying vampire. So
surprise.
Yeah, surprise. I've created not only a vampire race for her to use in past games, but also a vampire class. So and I love her vampires. I personally love vampires in my D&D games. They're always there. There's a vampire god. She's currently playing a human cleric that is dedicated to the Blood Prince, which is one of the gods in my game. And so vampires are everywhere all the time. So shout out to Strahd and Lestat.
No. Shout out to the old classic World of Darkness games that I loved so much.
Oh,
that's playing
Vampire
some fun vampires. Yes, yeah. I used to play that a lot.
So here's the irony. Here's the irony of that is that while the Satanic Panic was going on, through the 80s and even into the early 90s. It was still alive and well. I go to my mother, who the family knew that I was playing D&D, Star Wars, all of these role-playing games. I asked for Vampire the Masquerade first edition. I think it was 1990 or 91 that it came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, I want this game. And she sat down with me and had the conversation, wrote from Calvary Chapel. And she's like, why do you want to do this? You know, the devil's involved with that. I'm like, I've been playing D&D for years. What's going on here? So, yeah. I still haven't played Vampire the Masquerade. So, Wingus is gonna
I haven't played since
together a game
2000s, but no, speaking of the Satanic Panic and the games I used to play, AD&D was not as big, which is weird because that whole Satanic Panic thing started in the state I'm from. But Palladium, and because they weren't number one, no one realized. But if you look in the Palladium book, by the time 2E came out, and Palladium's old fantasy book's really old, but they had a witch class, and you had like a teat for the demon to suck on, and you also had you were an evil class, and it was like, and in that game there's like how to use the power words. There's also, it has like how to draw a circle of power. There's all this stuff in there that's
the sigils and
they really hammer down on the demonology and stuff in Palladium, and it's really hardcore in that. I mean, Palladium suffers here and there, but art, no, and the ideas, no. Now the system is a little wonky, but you can kind of hack through it a little bit. It's not too bad.
Yeah, you can get through it. Well, it reminded me of GURPS, if you remember, generic universal role-playing system. And it was like those two games, the Palladium games and the GURPS. I've got two Palladium books currently. One is on Castles and Keeps. It's like an A5 size, and the other one's on Weapons and Armory. And it's got great art and great stats for everything. It's really cool. Hey, shout out to Jack McCarthy is here. He says greetings and congrats on 5K. And if it wasn't for him, I don't think I would be doing a live stream, because I was like, why is everybody doing live streams? This is lame. But Jack's had me on his live stream. If you see his icon in the chat, go and subscribe to him. He's a newer channel. I think he's about 500 subscribers or so. And he's got great content. He gets great people on there, like Agranak Studios from time to time. I won't be able to be there this Wednesday, but he's got great live streams with wonderful people, very diverse, from younger players to old grognards like us. So very cool. Thanks, Jack, for coming by.
So Mrs. Wisdom just said Palladium sounds awesome. So it looks like Wingus has a mission to find you a copy of the Palladium Fantasy and get you one.
Oh yeah, here we go.
It is my duty, miss. I shall find one for you.
Oh, very
good. It is cool. Witchcraft in that book is cool.
And I'm an idiot. This is Jack McCarthy. I'm an idiot. Sorry. I gotta post this as a blunder. So this is Jack McCarthy. I was on the other Jack. What is it? The library. Jack of the library. So Jack was on, and he is one of these awesome YouTubers as well that's out there. But still, Jack McCarthy's got a YouTube channel, so go and subscribe to him. He's got great stuff going on too.
And don't forget to subscribe to Rocket Punch.
Yes, Rocket Punch Press. Subscribe to Rocket Punch.
Watch me dance like a
monkey.
But I
did call Jack McCarthy my spirit animal. So when we were on the last time we were doing stuff, so oh my God,
he's a good egg. He was following me when I was doing the explore, like pretty much every single post. He was like, yes, just rooting me on. So that was good.
Very good. Did everybody answer that question? What's your favorite die, Scott?
I don't have a favorite die, but I have an unfavorite die, as you know. I despise the traditional pyramid D4.
And
It's gotta
what
be.
did I give?
I prefer the barrel
Wait.
ones. The barrel
What did I
D4.
gift
Yes,
you with
those are
though?
cool.
Huh?
What did I give you?
Oh, you did. You gave me an option.
Yeah, the
You
Jolly
gave me
Rancher.
the Jolly Rancher, and then the last set I bought came with a flat one that's a little different, but kind of a Jolly Rancher. It looks more like a piece of chalk or something.
I think I might have one of those Jolly Ranchers in here. No.
But I don't
But
like
it is
I don't really
the
like
original
the bullet
RPG
shape.
Caltrop.
What about a Caltrop?
Yeah, the original D4 is the original Caltrop.
Oh yeah,
for
yeah,
gamers.
yeah. It's more dangerous than a Lego.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, who else hasn't answered here?
I haven't answered.
All right.
My favorite is the D6. I guess I'm the
Classic.
basic guy, but it is just the greatest die in my opinion.
It's classic. That's not basic. It's classic.
It is classic. It's underrated, I think, as well.
Underrated.
But the D12 is underrated.
It is underrated. Well, and Grit Fantasy leans into that. Shout out to Grit
Jeremy.
Fantasy and all that. If you haven't checked that out, just for the tables alone,
Oh yeah.
you should get that game. Great generations of wonderful content that's out there, but their basic system uses a D12. But I'm also seeing, I don't know, maybe Wingus can chime in on this. I'm seeing similarities to 13 RPG. There's a lot of the same math that is there, plus 1, 2, with a D13 on top of it, but they use the D12. So that's fun. More D12 games. Let's do it.
12.
Very
All right.
good.
Did Kappa? You didn't answer.
I didn't answer.
Mhm.
D12 and the D30.
Haha, yeah. DCC.
I've got a D50.
I have one of those D100 golf balls. I thought it
Is
was
that just-
cool when I first bought it in the 90s, but I hate that thing.
Yeah, it just keeps rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling. It'll stop eventually, I swear.
I guess you
All
can
right,
use it as a pool ball.
Oh, you can. Absolutely.
Could use a golf ball. What is that? 333 or something like that? Dimples.
Too many dimples. All right, so do we have another question?
Of course. Unless
Let's
someone
do
else
it.
has thing. So mine would be now, because most people play fantasy, and me, Kappa, and Mr. Pale Emperor, we play a million different types of games. So other than fantasy, what game did you really like or are looking forward to playing other than fantasy?
Let's start with Brian. Over. I don't know which way to go.
Yeah, that one.
I can't do it right. There we go. Over that way.
Other
I
than
think
fantasy,
everyone's
other than
screens are
Dungeons and
set up
Dragons?
differently.
Yeah.
Like other than
Who's
Dungeons and
that one?
Dragons?
Other than fantasy,
Give me an
D&D
example.
and fantasy.
I mean,
Well, like
everything's
say
fantasy.
Huh?
your bog
Even
standard
sci-
fantasy.
Even cyberpunk is fantasy.
Your
at this
bog
point.
standard fantasy genre when you say fantasy RPG. So it'd be like cyberpunk or World of Darkness, vampire,
Does
or could
Marvel
be
superheroes count?
yes, of course.
Yeah, absolutely. The Marvel universe, man.
Yeah.
I love that role playing game. It's fun.
Yeah, I've tried other super games, and that's still the best one ever.
I know.
It's
I
so
can't say
simple
enough
and
good
easy.
things about it. It's so ancient by now, but it's so friggin' awesome.
It is great.
That in short, that would be mine.
Shout out to Storm. I think she's on the live stream here. Who else?
Well, I
What would you
gotta
like
say,
to play, Scott? Or Rafi, go ahead.
I gotta say that I am looking forward to play plenty of games. some of which are Cyberpunk, Viking Death Squad, Shadow Dark. What else? Great
Shadow Dark's
Fantasy.
fantasy.
Oh no, yeah, they are fantasy. Oh yeah, okay.
Non-fantasy. That's everyone does fantasy.
Yeah,
Oh, Call of
Cyberpunk and
Cthulhu.
Viking
Cthulhu's
Death
good.
Squad. I
Oh,
think those are the two games that I actually like have physical copies of and want to play.
I'd say I'm getting sucked into Warhammer.
Oh,
So like
no.
the lore is unending, apparently.
Yeah.
So yeah, but the deeper I go, it's holding my interest, but I haven't gotten into actually playing anything, especially not the miniature game. But the video games are becoming really accessible, so I'll probably get drawn in some more.
Cuppa, other than fantasy, what would be some good non-bog standard fantasy RPG systems?
Ooh,
Everyone talks fantasy.
I know. Yeah, it's kind of the go-to, isn't it? Fantasy.
I mean, we had a great time playing the Agents of Poops in
That's true.
Fighting Fantasy.
Yeah, that's the great thing about Fighting Fantasy, especially the introductory role-playing system, which I'll have to get to some people, Mr. Wisdom and Brian. But yeah, it's so simple. It's 3 stats: skill, stamina, and luck.
Mhm.
If you want to try something, oh, you're a thief. You want to pick a lock, roll under your skill.
Yeah.
If
It's nice.
It's like, yeah, luck
It's quick
is
and
a
easy.
saving throw.
It really is. Yeah. So
It's
good.
like luck, saving throw, roll underneath that to avoid death type of thing. That's it. But you can mold it to whatever system you want. Like we did a kind of X-Files, Call of Cthulhu type of scenario.
Yeah.
Hey, Wisdom.
Very good.
What's
So I've had it on my shelf, and it is a game that I've wanted to play for a while. I bought $200 worth of miniatures for it that still need to be completely painted through, and that is a pirate game. Pirate Borg is the game that I really want to play. I still haven't played it.
it's good.
I've played D&D Pirate, which is still some of my favorite of all time. My son was the dungeon master in that, and I've never laughed so hard in my life. Just the antics that we got into. And so, but I think that stripped down Murkbori sort of vibe with Pirate Bori, right? Or Pirate Borg, depending on how you want to say it. That's the game that I really want to play next. Just being able to talk like this, you know, and you swabbies, get down on the deck, you bilge rats, and all of that. Like that to me is like I would be a player in that sort of game forever. Like that is one of those games.
I sort of played that in the Dark Crystal game you put on.
Yeah.
I was the forgetful pirate
Oh,
gelfling.
yeah, that's right. The pirate gelfling. Oh, that was great.
Your wife wants to know why you spent $200 on minis.
What? No.
That was years ago. It's already been accounted for. My beautiful.
That's already
Lovely
depreciated.
maiden.
Yes.
I
Fully
forgot
depreciated.
to. I also forgot to mention this game.
It's backwards.
Oh, Slavborg.
Yeah, Slavborg.
Oh, Slavborg. Yeah. That's
Oh,
funny.
nice. Very good. Yeah, I think Brian here is much like me. Our narrow. We have a narrow focus of games, but yeah, when you hit that tickle spot, you know. Like with him, it's the superheroes, which is great. And I have to say, I have zero interest in superheroes, but more kudos to you. And someone had mentioned a little bit earlier, Heroes Unlimited. That
Yeah,
was
that was
Mage's
the-
Musings.
That was by
And,
Palladium. Yeah.
Did you guys ever play Heroes Unlimited?
Yep.
Yeah.
I've never heard
Yeah.
of that.
Now,
It's by
Now-
Palladium. I had every Palladium book because
did you?
their offices are here, so it's big here. Yeah. Yeah, it's really it's kind of like the fantasy. Palladium's kind of like GURPS or like Savage Worlds. It's a universal kind of system. If you know one system, you know them all. Same as like Free League's awesome system.
Yeah, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, so you kind of roll. You have like a PPE points. You have like energy points to use basically, but still Marvel Super's the best.
Yeah. That
Yes,
was
our-
percentile based, right?
Yeah, your skills are percentile base. Your attack is a D20.
Okay. Okay.
So your skills are, it's kind of like the best of both worlds, percentiles
that's-
and D20.
Well, it was TSR, and so I know that Gary
Or
Gygax,
TSRs, yeah.
even with his Legendary Adventure, you guys ever hear that game?
I've heard of it. Yeah.
So that was before Gary Gygax passed away. He was working not only on Castles and Crusades and helping with that, but also with Legendary Adventure. And that was everything was percentile based. And so he abandoned the D20 and went percentile, which is very interesting to me. But it makes sense. It's very to the point. Here's your skill and or ability. Roll under, and you made it. You know, it's quick and to the point. So, good stuff. Heresy. This is not the true Marvel superheroes. Oh God. You're right. You're right. Yes. Marvel or die. Heroes Unlimited is underneath that. All right. Did everybody answer that last question? I don't even know where we're at right now, but we're at
Right.
an hour and 22 minutes on this stream. We got less than 40 minutes because I think I got a 2-hour limit on this. So we got about 40 minutes. So we got another question.
Sure.
Wingus.
All right, here's another spicy one. Class or level-based system?
Ooh.
What was that?
Class
Well,
versus levels. Some are like strict class or like more of a profession / levels system.
Or about no levels?
No, that's kind of in that same like class and everything else. We'll say that. Strict class, like a D&D type, or the other stuff where you're like levels or levelless or whatever.
Kind of skills based type
Yeah,
of thing.
skills
Yeah.
based.
I think I
Yeah.
prefer that. It's like
That's what I meant. Yeah.
it makes more sense instead of like where one problem I've got with leveling up is the hit points kind of go up as you level up. It's like that makes no sense whatsoever. You just stick with the one level point.
Agreed. I do. I've always hated hit points and how they get out of control. Like with the game, most of the games that I have designed have like at first level, you gain 20 hit points, right? Somewhere right around there. That seems to be the sweet spot. That's about 4 strikes of damage, averagely with a D6 or whatever. 4 or 5, maybe 6 if you're lucky. And so, yeah, keep it right there. If you did that to 5E, it would be grim dark.
It wouldn't work.
Yeah. Yes, Jack is right. That's what I meant to say is skills. I meant class versus skill-based games.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, that's why nothing made sense.
Yes.
It's like, wait a minute. Yes,
Yeah,
skills.
class
No,
versus
skill
skills.
based.
Class
Yeah.
and level, yes, didn't make sense.
Who else
Yeah,
has
because
got an
then
answer
you
to
can
that?
you can kind of mix it up a bit then, couldn't you? It's like if you wanted to be a fighter magic user,
Yeah.
you can
Well,
with
Gandalf.
skills.
Yeah, Gandalf was
he had a
he had
sword.
Glamdring, right? Yeah.
I
Shout out for anybody that believes that wizards should be able to wield swords. Go ahead and leave a comment right now.
Okay,
'Cause
guys, drink
yes.
again because in Dragonbane you can be a wizard with a sword.
Okay. All right. Good.
How many? That's the third Dragonbane reference.
I think wizards should be able to wield swords, even in my second edition
Yeah,
campaign.
even with
Right now,
disadvantage or
Start
something.
doing that,
if
didn't they?
someone
Well,
says
that's
I want
okay.
to wield a sword, it's fine. You're just not as
Yep.
proficient as anyone
Yeah.
else. And I don't like the idea of completely no armor for a wizard. I think you should be able to wear, like in second edition, hide armor is fine, because I don't think that's much more than having a linen robe, right?
Yeah.
So hide is just like, well, you're dealing with leather and all that. So a wizard should be able to have leather up. That's fine. The metal, I like the idea of the mythology of iron, which is probably why wizards can't use swords, is that iron kind of messes up with the magic system itself. And that goes back to, Welsh, Irish, Scottish, and English lore within that sort of thing. Germanic lore is like, oh, you've got a sword. The fey creatures are affected by that in a very negative way. And so it makes sense, because I think that wizards, witches, or any of those sorts of magic users, illusionists even, that they are using iron would be bad to that. So if you lean into that, which is not always stated in the rule books, but that's kind of where that comes from. But I like Gandalf with a sword is just badass, period. It's just badass. That's what I think.
That's funny. I read in the 2E rules that they addressed the metal thing and dismissed the metal thing, and said it was because, especially illusionists need your flexibility to gesticulate and do all these strange movements. So that's
Right.
kind of weird that they threw that in for the player's handbook. But I
Yeah.
think it's better the way you're describing it. Like, the way I heard it is there's certain schools of magic that don't work with metal because of the type of magic it is. I can imagine like a evoker or something that's like a pyro, and he has a sword that channels that sort of energy or something like that, or it
Yeah.
doesn't conflict, at least.
Right. I agree with that. Well, even with the witch class that we've created for second edition, you might have a dagger or an anathema, that is your focus for your spells that you cast with, and that's a bladed weapon, and it is metal. Even I believe, correct me if I'm wrong here in the comments or amongst the panel here, is that a wizard can still have a dagger or a dirk,
Yeah,
but
that's true.
nothing bigger than that. So
So
why
it's a
would that
volume of
make
metal?
sense and not a claymore?
I think because
Why?
they're kind of saying that
Right-hander.
they're typically weak, so they can only use a knife. Like, part of it was because they're studying all the time, so typically, but then you could have a swole wizard. You could magically somehow get an 18 in strength.
Oh,
So
fuck
then
yeah.
that doesn't make sense then.
Right.
They
that
should almost
doesn't
be
make sense.
like your level based, not level, but how your ability is. Like, if you have at least
your
this,
ability.
like Dragonbane.
So if you got like a 13 or more, yeah, you can have a claymore. Go for it.
Yeah,
I
I said it again. So in that system, Dragonbane, you have to have a certain strength to use a certain weapon. So that would kind of keep a wizard you can use swords,
to like they couldn't, lift the claymore even if they are pretty strong or whatever, because they at least need that strength score. So
Yeah. Well, X-Soul here, who is
Right.
my
Correct.
my only begotten son. I think a wizard should be able to use a sword, but no wizard should be needing to use it in the first place. You're a magic user. The sword
I don't miss it.
is your last line of defense as a wizard. I like that as well. That's beautiful.
but say
But
you're,
it just
you're
it
your
looks
fighter.
cool. It's all about like
does look cool.
the swag, right? I've got a sword. I could use it, but I'm gonna cast fireball instead.
Well, what if like all your magic is done? It's the last enemy. You're the last one standing, and your fighter is dead, and you're like the last one. You're the wizard. You used every spell. You should be able to pick up that fighter's sword and like stab at you with the last of your strength as you're about to die.
Yeah, and that's the point I was going to bring up, is that my campaigns are always based on common sense and whatever rules you want to put in place. I mean, if you want to be a wizard that carries a sword, I mean, your ability to use it, in which you use it, is going to be affected, but you should still be able to use a sword. If you want to wear armor, I mean, if your campaign calls for a certain metal that affects the spells that you use, then you make that's what Dungeons and Dragons is all about, is making it however you want it to be, whatever common sense based rules you want to throw in there, then throw them in there by all means. Just make it yours. That's what I base my whole campaigns off of.
Yeah. Yeah, and
you see Katie's comment?
Yeah, Katie, flame blade for me.
No, more like fireball.
You know
doesn't
what?
get fireball.
Right now, she's playing a cleric, so she's leaning into that flame blade. So, but really, it's she's leaning into other things. Again, I don't care who's watching this. I have the best players ever. Period. So fight me. I got the best players ever.
It's St. Patrick's Day. You need a fight.
Yeah, me too. Everybody should be raising their hands and saying, "Me too."
Yeah, that's a start table, right?
Hey, I love my players because they make my job so easy.
Yeah.
They will sit there and role play their characters, and sometimes I'll just sit back and watch.
Yeah, that's the best part for me, is watching the players interact with each other.
Oh yeah.
Based upon what has been happening and their conversations that they have, it really is the best part for me. Seeing all that, I think everything has its place. Combat, or the dungeon master delineating information, and set dressing and scene and all of that. But man, when the players start to role play, I'm completely entertained. Like completely. I'm just like, yeah, what are they coming? And then I'm writing down notes and going, oh, I totally forgot about that, but they just mentioned that right there. So I'm totally bringing that back. It's amazing. Amazing. Shout out to the players. Everybody talks about Critical Role. Matt Mercer being, this amazing dungeon master. I think Brian is just as good. I think I am just as good. I think Wingus is just as good. Everyone here could be just as good. The tipping point is your players. Mm-hmm. I really, truly believe that.
I'm glad you said
if you've got the right group of players, then you've got the right game. And I'm sticking by that, bar none. The DM is a player, a referee, and can say, yes, you can do that. No, you can't do that. And they're just basically honing it in. But the players, that's where it's at. If you've got good players, and that's a shout out to everyone that watches this. Be a better player. God freaking damn it. Like, be a better player. Be invested in your player for the sake of the table. and you will have adventures that you never knew that you could have. That's all I gotta say about that.
Yeah, if you're a
Major
really good
musing.
player, you might be able to go to a chip shop
Oh yes,
Yeah.
for 20 minutes
Listen,
in a
for
2-hour
20
game.
minutes. Go to the fish and chip shop.
Mage's Musing says Mercer and Critical Role know how to present their game for an audience, but beyond that, it's just another game.
It's so true to me.
Yeah.
So true.
I'll be back in a minute. I'm putting the dice goblin to bed.
Okay, sounds
Night,
good.
Dice Goblin.
Good night, Dice Goblin.
I think of the
Roll a
days back in the
D12.
day, Brent, when you were Magellan and Katie played a few times, and we had Don and all those guys. And even back then, even though your character was challenged me as a dungeon master, it was still a big part of how the campaign played out. Because without your character, it just wouldn't have been the same. Without anybody's participation in that particular campaign years ago, what was that, late 80s, early 90s, or whenever it was?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That is what made the game, not me. Maybe my preparation helped. Maybe my storytelling helped or whatnot, but you guys were the story, and you guys made the story happen as it unfolded, and that's what makes players such a
What's
thing.
ironic about that is that there was a period of time when it was just Katie and I.
Yeah.
And you're like, there needs to be another character. And what did you bring out was a ranger. I think he was a half elven ranger. His name started with a G. I don't remember him off.
Oh God, I would never be able to remember that.
I know. But I was like, that is the coolest character, and I want to play with that guy. And that was the thing. That was the epitome of, a small group, 2 players, 1 dungeon master. The dungeon master going, well, I need to be an NPC DM PC.
Yeah.
But you never overstepped your bounds. You knew even back then what so many people were talking about, which is that if you're playing a dungeon master player character, a DM PC, that you don't make the major decisions, but you can have a major help in the outcome. And it still has to do with dice rolls, right?
Yeah.
And
ultimately, yeah.
Yeah. So it's like with the NPCs that I bring into our campaign, I'm like, yeah, they might be a major player, but the players need to decide what's happening. And that informed me as how I play my DM PCs. It's like I'm not going to play a PC and take the highlights. I'm going to play an NPC that is subjugated to the characters.
Mm-hmm.
At least I hope that I do that. What do you have to say about that, Scott?
I was distracted by the balloons. I lost that last sentence. What was that?
The idea that if I'm playing a PC or an NPC that's with the party, am I taking the highlights of what's going on?
No, never. They're always supporting characters. Like there are some strong elements that continue, characters that affect the plot, but we're always we're the stars of the show.
I remember there was a resurrection that was happening for it was a pertinent NPC, and I had Nilrem, which is becoming a puppet here on Agranak Studios. I had Nilrem there, and then all these pig-faced orcs came in and were fighting you guys, but I was like, no, Nilrem is busy.
Yeah, that was
literally yeah, he could have literally destroyed everybody in just one spell. Just done. He's like a 20th level wizard, right? So he could have just like, oh, we're going to blink you out of existence into another plane and you're gone. And it's gone. But he was concentrated on the resurrection that was happening, reading the spell word for word. So he was busy and you guys had to tend with it. So it wasn't like he was there as like a savior. He was there as
He was a liability, actually.
he was actually a liability in all of
But
it. Yeah.
he was his own person though.
Yeah.
Outside of the party.
Yeah. Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah,
I throw them in on every game that I play. Right now they're playing with a Zentarum assassin that is forced to help them in their mission against these giants, and she don't like the party. She's forced to be with them, and she helps sometimes, but sometimes she just ducks out. You know,
yeah.
So it's really interesting. There's such a plethora of things you can do with NPCs and how they affect the game and stuff. But ultimately, while they're with the party, they may not necessarily be part of the party.
Right.
So, yeah.
Well, I've even used and Famix Wookie, who is here, as well as Katie, within the chat. I don't know if they're still watching, but there was a time when I had a demigod with them, but because they were in their avatar form, they were a human or a Jotun, like a giant, right? And so they were still in the confines of the body that they were inhabiting. Even though they had cosmic power, they still had limitations. And I was still rolling dice for them, and it was like, well, they keep rolling like a 5 or a 6. They're not really doing anything great. So what do you have to offer, as the players? And so it still emphasizes and exonerates the player characters, because that they are the stars of the story.
Yeah.
And they have to be, you know.
You did that with Ganlin. Yeah, and I remember in the final battle, I made a choice to just abandon him because he was a goner, and here he is, like one of the twin gods of magic or something. It's just like the whole time we had no clue.
You found that out later. You're like, wait a second, he's a god? I was like, yeah, he's a god, but he's in his flesh suit basically, so he's under the same physics as the player characters, so it makes sense. Yeah, so very good. I don't even know where we're at right now. Where Wingus?
Yes.
What are we supposed to be doing right now? What's the question?
I don't know. Jack gave you a super chat for $5 and we didn't even recognize that.
Oh my god, I need to go back.
Is that what the balloons are?
No.
I think that is actually
That's
super
right.
chat. $5. Carmen Ryder for the win. Very good. Well, thank you so much for that super chat. Jack McCarthy makes a huge difference here on the channel. This helps me to basically, I'm not paying bills with this. I'm buying other supplements and things to review on the channel. So it really helps. Thank you.
Materials for the puppets.
Yeah, well, oh gosh. We've been working on Nilrem for a while here. But here's a spicy take. And I want to hear what all of you have to say about this. This is from Mage's Musings, who is my fellow puppeteer dungeon tuber here in the dungeon verse and the YouTube verse. And that is, I hate DMPCs. What do you say about that?
Depends on
yes
the DM.
and no.
I mean,
It depends on. It really depends on what kind of DMPC we are talking about.
Yeah, if you're too involved, then yeah. But if it's something you're kind of like Dungeon Master from the old cartoons, which was an awesome cartoon, by the way.
oh yeah,
Where he just kind of shows up for a minute, says something, and then like goes away, and they're like Dungeon Master, and like he's vanished.
He's like, later, bitches.
But if you're basically, if you're living out your power fantasy through an NPC, that's not cool. But if it's here and there, like you're here, then
He says any DM that uses DMPC needs to just solo play. I'll get that out of your system.
yeah.
That's Jack McCarthy right here.
Yeah, it's all in how you use it. Yeah, so when most people say that, they're referring to like the people who are just like interject their perfect player character who's 18 strength or 18 at every stat and just overpowered, and my PC will help you, or this NPC will help you. Yeah, I
think
cool.
That's exactly what it is. That the DMPCs become
overshadow.
The perfect PC that the dungeon master has in mind.
Yeah.
And that's toxic at the table.
Yeah.
It really is toxic.
Yep.
And not something that you want to do. They should be able to fail. Even like the demigods that I brought out that may have, kind of traveled with the party for a while. Like, no, this guy's just as vulnerable as everyone else, and they could die. Now they can be reincarnated and respawned as an avatar or whatever, but they are nowhere near on that god tier, right? Even though, because they're packaged in a box, and like if you don't do it right, if you don't stifle them, or rather put a governor on them, right? You got to have a governor on top of them. Like, they can't do just anything they want.
Because it's the player's game. You can't overshadow them.
Right. Exactly.
But you should have fun at the table, but you shouldn't overshadow the player.
Yeah. And then
Katie wants to know what the difference between a DMPC is and an NPC.
Basically, an Uber PC that's controlled by the DM.
Uber. It's the Uber. Yeah. So it's the player character with all 18 on every single ability.
Oh, geez.
With access to every single spell. They can wield any sword and wear any armor. That, I think, is the epitome of a DMPC. But then Mage's Musing says DMPCs and NPCs are not the same thing. I agree with that. I encourage DMs to role play NPCs fully, but a dungeon master player character is a totally different beast. And I think that's what we're saying here.
Because they take those characters personally.
Yeah.
And I never do that with my NPCs. They're always succumb to the dice roll. And while they're part of the story, and a big part of the story usually, they still can die and they still can fail.
Yeah, like sometimes if you have a small group of players, sometimes like I played Shadow Dark and they didn't have any healers. So I'm like, I'll make you a cleric that travels around, but they'd have to ask him. I'd be like, well, he's not going to do stuff. If you tell me like, hey, can he apply cure wounds on me? I'm like, okay, he's going to roll for it because there's only 2 people and they needed at least a third to kind of round it out. Then that's fine. But I tell him like, they're like, what's he doing? And then I just say like, well, you got to ask him, like, join the fight or do something. Like, okay, he can fight, he can help out, but I'm not gonna tell him, because then he knows what I know. So if you tell him to do something, he'll do it. But
and then that's where the fate mill comes in handy as well.
Exactly, the fate mill.
Ooh, here's an interesting question from Jack McCarthy, who's not that Jack, the other Jack, my spirit animal. Shout out to you, my friend. We'll have to get you on the channel. My people right here. How about GM-less play? So no game master at all. Use an oracle of some type, and everyone playing has a character in the game. What do you think about that? This is something I've actually never done. So what do you guys think?
Done that.
Yep. Solo and I played We were just messing
Cool.
around. We didn't have a third player, and we're like, well, this week we want to play something. We want to goof around or do something. So he's like, hey, I got the Fallout starter box. I'm like, oh, that sounds cool. So we did GM lists, and we kind of figured out what to do, and everything was just Fate Mill. So there was no GM specifically, and we were kind of using it to kind of test the mechanics and kind of see how this game works.
Random tables of like a dungeon. It's like, what's in this area? And what's the MacGuffin? What are we going after?
Yeah.
Because you need obviously, everything needs a conflict. You can't just go, where are we going? What are we doing? You need a reason to do something.
Yeah.
I also did GM lists with my daughter with Dragonbane.
Yeah.
Drink again.
Nice. Very cool.
And that, like, I'm trying to get her, but she's not. She's perfect for this game, but she's just doing her own crafting and stuff like that. She's got her own drawing and crafting doing. But we did a couple times, so it'd be GM-less. So I just roll the Fate Mill, same kind of thing, and I just, hey, what's over here? Roll the die or roll on the table. So yeah, it's different from solo. It's different from a duo where it's the GM and one player. So this is completely no GM.
Yeah, you just kind of riff off each other's ideas.
Yeah. And we're good at it.
Yeah. But I think Ironborn has the same thing. They've got a co-op option in their rulebook. So if that is something that people want to try,
yeah, try them all.
Yeah,
like I say,
try
group,
every single game.
Yeah, RPGs, yes. I can't say group is the best, but there's certain times and you gotta, try solo. Like, I was nervous when I first started, like, I don't want to write a book, that's boring, but yeah, I do the same thing. I just, like, they went here, they did a thing, done that, and then everything is, I keep it short. But try them all. Try all the systems, try all the game styles. They're all different. They have goods and minuses.
Co-op and solo is good for if you're a DM and you want to test an adventure, run the adventure solo or co-op before putting it onto your players.
Yeah. What about you, Brian? GM-less playing?
No.
That's because you got a full-time players. You've never been starving. Solo and I.
Well, no, in your case, yes. In your case,
any morsel.
But for me, no. I'm pretty set in my old ways.
Yeah, you're lucky.
I am lucky, I'll be honest, because it's so hard to get players sometimes, and even my players can only come once a month or once every other month, And,
so don't you want to try something else in the interim? Goof around?
Oh yeah, that's a hard question. I would love to play more. I really would. And as big as this game has been in my life, I would definitely love to play more and try something new. But when I have that itch, I just kind of turn on my PlayStation and play Skyrim. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily for any one person. I think if you want to try it out, by all means, and let me know how it goes. I would love to see some results or some people who have done that. I mean, for sure.
There's some great GM-less games out there. Even Mythic has a good, which is a solo-specific sort of emulator that's out there and game, but they have ideas for GM-less games within that, and it's wonderful. Hey, we are approaching the 2-hour mark. We got 6 minutes left.
Okay.
If anybody that's here, if you've got something that you'd like to shout out, it could be your own channel, your own Instagram page, whatever you're doing, or a game or module or supplement that you think somebody should check out, or any of the above. We're going to go clockwise here. We're going to start with Rafi, and let us know and let all of our viewers know here what you think they should be checking out, whether it's you or something else. Rafi, 1, 2, 3, go.
Well, Well, I don't really have any media stuff other than Discord. So you come and join the Agranak Studios Discord, and let's play some games together. I'm working on my own games. I'd like to test them at some point, and the more players, the merrier.
Absolutely.
All right, Wingus.
All right. So I started a channel on the YouTubes called Rocket Punch Press. So I do a lot of silly, goofy stuff and look at a lot of things. I'm completely unprofessional, and I like it that way. I also have on Drive-Through, I have a whole bunch of weird classes for Shadow Dark, like a barber surgeon and things like that. So yeah, check it out. It's all free, and if you throw me a shilling, I won't argue.
A shilling.
Or two.
Tuppence.
A tuppence.
Cuppa.
Yes.
I've got an Instagram. He takes over it, and I'll just go on at Cup of Solo on Instagram. That's where I hang out most of the time. Sorry, where he hangs out most of the time.
What's your handle?
At Cup of Solo, all one word.
Very good. Scott, do you have anything?
Okay. Congratulations on 5,000. I didn't say that yet.
Oh,
Congrats.
And,
congratulations.
shout out to your set there. You have a lovely set behind you. It turned out really nicely. That's
Very
me.
good. Brian.
Oh, you know, I own a woodworking company, and it's the Old Forest Wood Company, and I make dice towers and DM screens and a plethora of other things. But you can find me on Old Forest Wood Co. on Instagram, and we could talk about a new project if you want. But for the most part, congratulations on the 5,000, man. That's really awesome. And Katie,
Thanks.
you might be right. I maybe rather not play than play solo or DM less.
That is the thing. Well, I'm going to hand this over to DM Zoth. I'm going to adjust the camera here. Have him come up. Hey there, everybody. Hope you're doing well. And thanks for coming by the live stream here today. And I hope you check out all these people over here and have a wonderful rest of your day. Thank you guys for stopping by Agranak Studios today, and we'll see you on the next one. Later.